Crystal banners hung from the ceiling of the royal hall of Kairos. Each banner showed a battle the alien queen had already won. Many nobles, tall, armored, and proud, stood in two bright lines. Between them walked a single human, Captain Leo Grant. His boots clicked on the shining floor. He kept his back straight, even when all eyes stared down at him as if he were an insect. On the far end, Queen Zura reclined on her throne of black glass. She was 8 feet tall, with 4 strong arms and silver tattoos that glowed when she breathed. A purple crown floated a few inches above her head, turning slowly in the scented air. Zura's laugh rolled across the chamber like thunder. She laughed at the very sight of the tiny visitor. The nobles laughed with her, their echoed voices shaking dust from the high arches. Leo stopped 10 steps away and bowed once. His voice was clear. "Your Majesty, Earth greets Kairos in peace." The queen raised one eyebrow ridge. "Peace? I know your planet. Your people fight each other for oil and sky water. What else do you bring?" Leo's mouth curved into a calm smile. "We bring stories, science, and perhaps children." At the word children, the hall exploded with new laughter. One noble almost fell over, clutching her stomach plates. Another wiped golden tears from his cheek. To them, the suggestion sounded like a joke. A human fathering royal heirs? Impossible and offensive. Even Zura tilted her head back and roared, the crown above her throne spinning faster in her mirth. Yet when her laughter slowed, something inside her chest felt different, as if a warm spark had touched her heart. She had crushed bigger warriors than this Leo, but his eyes did not widen, his knees did not shake. He stood as steady as a mountain root. Zura leaned forward, placing 2 of her 4 hands on her knees. "Let us test your courage, little man. How about you entertain the court with a leap into our frost pits?" Leo did not blink. "Gladly, Your Majesty, but first, may I show you something?" He reached into a side pocket and pulled out a small white cube, no larger than a sugar lump. He pressed its side, and a soft blue light rose, shaping itself into a hollow image. A vast green meadow appeared, Earth's ancient plains. In the middle, alien flowers grew beside wild roses. Human children ran with alien children, throwing silver discs that floated back like boomerangs. The image looked peaceful, innocent, and strange at once. The hall fell silent. Even the queen's inner circle leaned in, curious. Leo spoke again, still calm. "This is what we imagine, 2 worlds, 1 field. Your power, our creativity. Your strong sons and daughters, our endless curiosity. Think of the knowledge they might build together." A tall advisor, Lord Varuk, clicked his mandibles in anger. "Cheap-like tricks. Spare us this dream fog, human." Zura, however, studied the hollow field with narrow eyes. A line of pale blue light traced her cheekbones, reflecting her hidden interest. She waved one massive hand, and the image faded. "Captain," she said, her tone half amused, half interested, "you wish to breed giants with insects. Tell me, why should we waste royal blood on an experiment?" "The same reason stars join to forge new elements," Leo answered. "Together, we make something neither of us can make alone." Those words, simple and direct, settled over the nobles like falling ash. The queen's claws tapped the arm of her throne. Countless suitors from conquering nations had offered her jewels and captive planets, but no one had offered her something born of equal hope and equal risk. Then, with sudden decision, Zura clapped twice. Guards appeared, tall shapes with light spears. "Take him to the menagerie," she ordered in a casual voice. "Feed him well, study him. We will see if his bravery survives cages and teeth." Gasps swept the court. Prison for an ambassador was almost a declaration of war. Yet Leo bowed. Again without fear. "As you command, my queen. Remember my offer while I am your guest." The guards led him away. His footsteps echoed until the door seals hissed shut. When the noise faded, Zura's laughter returned, but quieter now, thoughtful rather than mocking. Night came to Kairos. Twin moons lit the palace domes in silver blue light. Zura dismissed her last advisor and walked alone through hushed halls. She told herself she was only inspecting security, yet her silent steps led toward the lower vaults where living curiosities were kept. In the menagerie, cold starlight poured through glass ceilings onto cages of rare beasts. Leo sat inside the largest enclosure, cross-legged on the floor. A wounded relock pup, a six-legged, tusked creature, whimpered beside him. Leo ripped a strip of his own shirt and wrapped the pup's bleeding paw. He whispered calming words. The creature relaxed. The queen watched unseen from behind a shadow column. Here was a prisoner who healed instead of harmed. Something shifted again inside her heart, and it scared her more than any blade. She stepped out of hiding. "Captain," she said, voice echoing across steel bars, "why help a creature that might eat you tomorrow?" Leo looked up, meeting her eyes evenly. "Because mercy is stronger than fear. And because every life saved becomes a story worth telling." The queen's pupils widened, catching moonlight. For the first time since her early coronation, her throat tightened with nervous wonder. Maybe, just maybe, the laugh she had shared with her court was the last laugh of the old era. The next laugh could belong to destiny itself. Above them, sensors in the ceiling pulsed soft red, detecting unheard energy between human and queen. A tiny screen flashed words in ancient Kairosi. Language, cross-pairing potential, 0.009%. The numbers began to climb. Zura turned away before Leo could see surprise on her face. "Sleep well, human," she said, voice low. "Tomorrow you may wish you had not." She walked back to the lift, hands clasped behind her, heart beating louder than royal drums. And Leo, hearing the cage door lock, smiled to himself in the dark, certain that the true negotiation had only just begun. Moonlight crawled through the high windows of the menagerie, painting silver bars across Captain Leo Grant's cell. He had not slept. Instead, he watched the six-legged relock pup breathing beside him, its bandaged paw twitching in dream. Somewhere beyond the cages, gears clicked and steam hissed, signs that Queen Zura's palace never truly rested. A heavy door slid open. Two guards in jade armor stomped in, their light spears crackling blue. Between them walked Lord Varak, the queen's top scientist. Varak's thin antennae trembled with dislike as he stared at the human. "Up," he ordered. Leo rose without protest. The guards locked titanium cuffs around his wrists. Varak tapped a wrist console, and the cell walls folded apart like iron petals, turning the prison into a narrow corridor. "Where are we going?" Leo asked, voice calm. Varak's mandibles clicked. "To the proving grounds. Her Majesty tires of your kind words. Today she wants proof." They marched past rows of glowing tanks, each holding rare creatures from conquered planets. Many beasts snarled, but Leo met every pair of eyes with silent respect. Some animals quieted, confused by the lack of fear. The procession entered an underground arena lit by rings of burning plasma. High stone seats circled the pit. Nobles in bright armor filled the benches, eager for blood. Above them, the queen's black glass throne hovered on a magnetic disc. Zura sat tall, forearms folded, face unreadable. Varak pushed Leo forward. "Behold the human who speaks of peace," he announced, voice dripping with scorn. "Let us test his courage with life, not words." Steel gates clanged open on the far side. A giant cark prowled out, twice Leo's height, scales like red iron, 4 eyes blazing anger. Chains on its neck snapped free. The beast roared, shaking dust. From the pillars, the crowd cheered. They expected the tiny human to run, cry, beg. Leo studied the creature's stance, favoring its back left leg. He noticed a deep wound leaking dark fluid. The Kark's pain fueled its rage. Zura raised one hand. Torches dimmed, signaling silence. "Captain," she called, voice echoing. "Defeat the Kark, and you walk free. Spare it, and the beast devours you. Choose." Leo's cuffs unlocked and clattered to the ground. He stepped into the circle of light. "I do not wish to kill," he said, gazing at the Queen. "But I will defend myself and your subject, if I must." The Kark charged. Leo dodged left, grabbed a fallen spear, but instead of thrusting, he planted the shaft like a crutch against the creature's injured limb, forcing it to slow. The beast swiped. Claws grazed Leo's chest, slicing fabric and skin, but he held the spear firm, easing the weight off the wounded leg. Heartbeats thundered in his ears. The crowd's roar blurred. Leo spoke softly to the Kark, words meant for any hurting soul. "Easy, friend. Pain makes monsters of us all." Miraculously, the Kark's attacks weakened. Confusion flickered in its 4 eyes. It sniffed Leo, huffing hot breath, then sank onto its haunches, trembling. Leo pressed the spear's butt into the ground and used the leaf-shaped blade to clean the wound, scraping away infected scales. Gasps rippled through the nobles. No one had ever calmed a Kark without stun nets. Zura leaned forward, silver tattoos glowing brighter along her arms. Something warm fluttered in her chest, the same spark she had felt the night before. Varek sprang to the edge of the pit. "Finish it," he shouted. "Show dominance." Leo looked up at the Queen instead. "Your Majesty, may I heal your champion?" Zura's 4 eyes narrowed, measuring the risk. The arena was silent enough to hear the plasma flames crackle. At last she lifted 2 fingers. "You may try." Medical drones zipped down, dropping supplies. Leo dressed the wound and whispered gentle commands. The Kark lay still, like a dog trusting its handler. When Leo stepped back, blood soaked his torn shirt, yet his smile was steady. The crowd did not cheer. They sat frozen, unsure what they had witnessed. The Queen rose. "Captain Grant has passed," she declared, voice deep as drums. "Courage is not always a blade." Murmurs spread, admiration mixed with fear. Some nobles bowed their heads, others scowled. Suddenly, Varak's console beeped wild alarms. He stared at the screen. Biological sensors in the arena spiked whenever Leo neared the Queen. Hybrid compatibility readings climbed again. Varak's eyes widened with greedy calculation. Zura descended on her hovering throne until she stood face to face with Leo. Close now. She saw the cut on his chest and the steady rise of his breath. Something ancient in her blood whispered protect her. Without warning, a hidden panel opened. In the floor, and a long crystal bridge extended toward a sealed door etched with star runes. Palace legends spoke of the ritual chamber, beyond a place where royal life bonds were tested by the planet itself. The nobles chattered in shock. No ruler had opened that door in a century. Zura offered her lower right hand. "Walk with me." "Human," she said, voice softer than anyone had ever heard. Leo placed his palm against hers. Sensors in the bridge glowed a brilliant white, welcoming both signatures. The door split apart, spilling golden light that bathed them like sunrise. High above, Varak clenched his fists. If the Queen bonded with a human, his plans for pure blood supremacy would crumble. He turned and slipped away, already plotting claws in shadow. As Zura and Leo crossed the dazzling threshold, the Kark lowered its massive head in silent respect. The arena lighting dimmed behind them, and the watching nobles felt the weight of history shift. Inside the ritual chamber, a heartbeat-shaped crystal pulsed, waiting. And somewhere in the palace depths, ancient machines began to count down the first seconds of a future no one could yet imagine. Asterisk. Silence filled the ritual chamber, thick like mist. The walls were alive with soft pulses of light, reacting to the presence of two beings, one alien queen, one human stranger. At the heart of the chamber floated the soul crystal, an ancient relic that had once chosen rulers, bonded pairs, and even warned of betrayal. Now, it beat with a rhythm that matched Queen Zura's heart. And Leo's dot as they stepped closer, the crystal brightened. A beam of golden light scanned both their bodies. Zura stood tall, unshaken, but inside her chest, her blood felt electric. Her people had said such a bond was not possible. Her scientists had called the human gene line incompatible. But this was not science. This was something older. Leo said nothing. He simply met her gaze with quiet strength, a silent question in his eyes. Are you ready for what comes next? Zura touched the crystal. It warmed instantly under her palm. A voice, ancient and genderless, whispered from the air itself. The union has been sealed. Conception has begun. Zura's eyes widened. What? She whispered. She looked down at her own hands. Blue sparks danced along her skin. A strange warmth spread from her core outward. Her lungs felt too full, her breath short. She stumbled. Leo caught her before she fell. Zura? The queen pressed her hands to her abdomen. Beneath her armored robes, her body glowed faintly, veins of pale blue and gold lighting up her stomach and chest. The bond, she gasped. It wasn't just spiritual, it was real, immediate. Leo helped her to the floor as the chamber dimmed again, its task complete. She leaned against him, trembling not from fear, but from awe. I can feel them, she said slowly. Two lights, growing inside me. By dawn, news of the bonding had already started spreading, whispered. From servant to soldier, from scribe to noble, the queen is pregnant with a human's child. Varrock watched the palace from a high spire, his eyes full of venom. His machines had confirmed what the ritual chamber started. Queen Zura was carrying hybrid embryos, royal heirs, mixed with earthborn DNA. To him, it was an insult to pure bloodlines, a threat to the entire future of Kairos. We must act quickly, he hissed to his allies in the shadows, before the mutation spreads. Meanwhile, in the private healing chambers, Queen Zura lay resting on a gravity platform. Her body pulsed with a strange mix of weakness and raw energy. The royal doctors stood confused. None had seen symptoms like this. The unborn were growing too fast. The queen needed isolation in the sacred incubation pool, an ancient chamber used only during emergency pregnancies, but entering the pool meant stepping away from the throne. And stepping away from the throne meant danger. Leo stood by her side, his eyes sharper than ever. He listened as doctors spoke quietly about fetal instability, psychic flare-ups, and species conflict. He finally interrupted. Is she dying? The head healer, a female with 3 cybernetic arms, paused, then shook her head. No, but the pregnancy is changing her, faster than expected. Her body must adapt, or the children won't survive. Zura opened her eyes slowly, hearing every word. Take me to the pool, she said, voice firm but low. We protect them, no matter the cost. The incubation pool sat beneath the palace, inside a crystal chamber guarded by ancient tech. Its waters glowed with healing nanites and ancestral DNA patterns. The queen floated inside, eyes closed, while healers monitored. Vitals. Leo remained outside, watching through the thick glass. He had never felt so useless. Suddenly, an alarm blared. Boom. A shockwave rippled through the palace. The pool lights flickered. Sirens wailed. Doors slammed shut. Leo drew his pulse pistol, heart racing. What was that? A guard rushed in, face pale. Explosives. Someone breached the outer vault. They're coming for the queen. Leo didn't wait. He bolted down the hallway toward the Central Defense Corps, barking into his communicator. Lock every tunnel. Seal the pool. Get the queen out of danger now. Back in the incubation pool, Queen Zura stirred as the water boiled. Her body arched, her breathing turned shallow. The twins inside her were no longer just embryos. They were waking up. From inside her womb, 2 soft pulses pushed out like sonar waves. The guards outside staggered as their helmets crackled with static. Even Leo, running through firelit corridors, felt a strange pressure in his skull. Something had changed. Something powerful had arrived. Meanwhile, deep in the tunnels, Varrock walked with a small army of rogue soldiers. His voice was cold. Secure the queen. Remove the embryos. The throne must remain pure. One soldier hesitated. But she's carrying royal blood. Varrock's eyes glowed. That blood is contaminated. He lifted his arm. His gauntlet lit up an override code. All palace systems reset to purge mode. In the pool, Zura's eyes opened, glowing bright white, and from within her belly, the first words echoed silently into her mind, not from her own thoughts, but from the unborn. Mother. We are here. She gasped. And somewhere above, Leo felt it too, like his name being spoken by stars. Asterisk. The palace lights went dark. Not flickered dark. Entire wings of the royal fortress fell into shadow, as if someone had unplugged the heart of the planet itself. The guards froze. The nobles panicked. And high above the mountain spires of Kairos, the planetary shields dimmed for the first time in 5 centuries. Leo knew exactly what this meant. Someone had activated purge protocol. He ran. The queen was still inside the incubation pool chamber, unconscious and vulnerable. He dodged a group of panicked staff and leapt over a shattered control desk, sparks flying. Alarms screamed. Smoke filled the corridors. Leo's wristcom buzzed. It was Zura's head healer, her voice shaky. They've shut down life support in the chamber. We're losing the queen. Inside the crystal incubation pool, Queen Zura floated like a sleeping goddess, bathed in soft blue light. Her belly pulsed with life. 2 small beings growing faster than nature allowed. Their psychic energy crackled through the water, but something was wrong. The water temperature dropped sharply. Healing lights flickered. The sacred runes on the pool's walls dimmed. Machines hissed out steam, then stopped. Zura's breath caught in her throat. Her eyes snapped open, completely white, glowing, and she tried to rise, but her limbs were too heavy. The unborn inside her stirred, sensing danger. From her mind came 2 voices in perfect sync. Mother. Darkness is coming. Varrock stood in the palace command center, surrounded by armed traitors. The once loyal technician crew now lay unconscious around him. He stared at the central throne monitor. It showed Queen Zura's vital signs dropping fast. Smiled coldly. Deactivate chamber shields. Flood the tunnels with purge gas. The alien human embryos must not survive. But one soldier hesitated. It will kill the queen. Varrock's eyes narrowed. Then a statue will honor her, and a new pure ruler will rise in her place. In the lower corridors, Leo reached the locked chamber doors. They were sealed tight with emergency override symbols glowing red. Behind him, the floor trembled. Explosives, again. No time to think. Leo ripped open a panel beside the door. His Earthmate AI tool blinked to life. Bypass it, he ordered. Warning, the AI replied. Alien tech not fully mapped. Detonation risk 87%. Leo gritted his teeth. Then we better get lucky. Sparks shot from the panel. The screen flashed green. Unlocked. The door slid open. Steam poured out. The chamber glowed with dull red. Inside, Queen Zura was barely conscious, floating in near-freezing water. Her skin had lost its color. Her breathing was shallow. Zura. Leo ran to her side, splashing into the pool fully clothed. He held her head above the water. She blinked slowly, recognizing him. They single quotes coming for the children. I know, he said gently, but so am I. He lifted her into his arms. Her skin was colder than ice. As he turned, the runes on the pool walls suddenly flared hot gold. A psychic wave exploded outward. Everything made of metal in 100-meter radius melted at the edges. The pool cracked. The crystal pillars shattered from within the queen's belly came another wave, this one filled not with power, but warning. Above ground, the sky changed. Enemy ships, dark, angular, and silent, broke through the weakened planetary shields. They hovered above the capital city, completely quiet. No engines, no sounds. Just a slow descent. The siege of silence had begun. Back in the palace, Leo carried Zura down a hidden tunnel. The route twisted deep under the surface, known only to royal bloodlines. Zura stirred again. The twins, they speak to each other. In dreams, they're scared. Leo stopped. They're not alone, and neither are you. He placed her down gently, tore off part of his shirt, and wrapped her freezing arms. He pressed a heat pack to her chest. Suddenly, behind them, metal footsteps echoed. Enemy troopers in pure black armor appeared. Varak's elite. Leo aimed his plasma pistol. Don't take another step. They ignored him. Leo fired. The beam hit the first trooper and bounced off. The armor shimmered. Adaptive shielding. Leo backed up, shielding Zura. Come on, he whispered. Wake up. I can't do this alone. And she did. Her eyes snapped open, blazing with a mix of white and gold fire. The tattoos across her arms surged. Her voice rang out, not from her mouth, but from her mind. You dare threaten the womb of Kairos? The enemy stopped, paralyzed mid-step. Zura stood on trembling legs, belly glowing faintly. They are mine, and you. Air finished. The air crackled. From her body erupted a sphere of pure psychic force, blasting the corridor walls outward. The soldiers screamed, shields frying, bodies hurled like paper. Leo pulled her close as the dust settled. You okay? She smirked weakly. Pregnancy mood swings. They laughed, even if just for a second. Far away, Varak saw the blast on his monitor and hissed. He turned to a silent figure in a cloak. Release the Arc Beast. We'll rip them out by force. But in the tunnels, Zura looked ahead. The ancient catacombs opened into a forgotten chamber, a place where no blood had been spilled for 1,000 years. And at its center stood the World Core Gate. It pulsed with light, as if waiting for one thing: a queen, a father, and their future. Asterisk. The hidden chamber was silent. So silent, Leo could hear his own heartbeat, slow, steady, and surrounded by ancient energy. The World Core Gate stood before him, a massive ring of living crystal taller than Queen Zura herself. It pulsed with deep gold light, reacting to their presence. Zura leaned on him, still weak from the psychic blast. Her eyes flickered between lucidity and exhaustion. Her skin glowed faintly where her unborn children pressed from within, 2 pulses, one blue, one golden, matching the rhythm of the gate's hum. No one had opened the World Core in centuries. Not even Zura knew what would happen if they did. Above ground, the capital city of Kairos was dark. Varak's forces had seized control of the palace towers, disabling defense grids and silencing the Queen's Guard. The rebels patrolled the streets with cold precision, warning citizens that the Queen was dead. And a new era had begun. But not everyone believed it. Word had spread quietly, quickly, that Queen Zura had survived the assassination attempt, that she had escaped through ancient paths, and most dangerously of all, that she was pregnant with a human's children. Inside the hidden chamber, Leo looked up at the gate. What is this place really? He asked, helping Zura to a stone platform near the gate's base. Zura took a shaky breath. The World Core listens to bloodlines. Only royals can open it. It holds memories of our ancestors and power beyond anything you've seen. She touched her belly, eyes filled with both wonder and fear. But I don't know what it will do to hybrids. This place has never met children like mine. Leo placed a hand over hers, then let it meet us together. They stepped toward the center. Suddenly, the floor glowed. Lines of ancient symbols stretched out like veins across the stone. The gate lit up fully, its color shifting from gold to brilliant white. A deep voice, neither male nor female, echoed through the chamber. Royal signature detected. Secondary signature detected. Mixed genome confirmed. Access granted. The gate split open. Light burst from within like starlight and dawn merging into one. Leo shielded his eyes. Zura stood frozen, bathed in the glow. Her body lifted, an inch off the floor as if gravity had forgotten her. The unborn children inside her responded, not with kicks, but with thought. 2 words echoed through her mind and Leo's at once. Home found. In the palace war room, Varek watched a monitor screen go blank. What was that pulse? His lieutenant asked, nervous. Varek stared. He knew what it was. The world core had been opened. He slammed his fist on the control panel. She found the gate. That means the twins are activating it. His eyes narrowed. Then we bring the war to them. Back beneath the palace, the gate began to change. It formed a glowing bridge that stretched forward into another space entirely. Zura stepped onto it, Leo right beside her. Around them swirled visions, old kings, fallen queens, lost cities, forgotten wars. Then something new appeared. The future. 2 twin children, grown, stood on a battlefield not of fire, but of unity. Human and alien soldiers fought side by side. Not against an enemy, but for each other. Cities floated. Knowledge flowed like rivers. Zura gasped. These are our children's memories, she said. But from the future. Leo nodded slowly. They're showing us what's possible if we survive this moment. A loud crack broke through the vision. The floor above trembled. Varak's soldiers had found the hidden entrance. The vision vanished. The gate sealed again. Zura stumbled, her glow dimming. They're too close. The babies. They're frightened. Leo steadied her. Then we don't run. He tapped his communicator. Static. The rebels had jammed the frequency. No allies. No backup. Only the 2 of them. And 2 unborn lights. Zura clenched her fists, glowing tattoos flaring again. We defend them, even if it's our last breath. Leo stepped beside her. Together. Outside the chamber, the rebel soldiers raised plasma rifles. Varek himself stood behind them, armored in obsidian black. Prepare to extract the embryos, he said coldly. Alive if possible, dead if necessary. He gave the signal. Inside, the floor began to crack open. Zura and Leo backed against the crystal platform. The twins inside her pulsed rapidly, then suddenly, a new force awakened in the room. The walls of the chamber lit with symbols no one had seen in 1,000 years. A floating crown of energy appeared above Zura's head. The gate lit up again on its own. A shield of pure light surrounded the family. Varek and his soldiers burst in, just in time, to see a storm of energy erupt from the queen's body. They froze. Blinded. Zura stepped forward, her voice now layered with something ancient. I am not just Queen of Kairos now. I am the mother of its future. The room shook. Soldiers screamed. Varek raised his weapon, then screamed as it melted in his hands. His armor began to crack. The unborn children had unleashed their first defense. Leo stepped toward him. You wanted a pure world, he said. But the future isn't pure. It's powerful. Varek ran, but he knew. The war was no longer his. To win. Asterisk. Flames rose across the palace skyline. The royal city of Kairos burned under a silent sky. Rebel ships floated above like vultures, blocking the suns, dropping units through magnetic beams. The planet's defense grid, once thought unbreakable, lay In pieces. But beneath the palace, something far older had awakened. And something far newer was ready to be born. Queen Zura gripped the edge of the glowing platform. Her breath came fast. Her entire body trembled, not from fear but from something deeper, something ancient. Labor had begun. Inside her womb, the hybrid twins pulsed like tiny suns. Energy rippled around her, cracking the stone under her feet. The unborn did not scream or cry. They communicated with each other, and with her. "We are coming." Leo stood by her side, pale with concern. He pressed his palm against hers. "Zura, you're going into labor now?" She nodded slowly, sweat gleaming on her brow. "It's too soon. They're forcing their way out. Psychic pressure. Their powers are evolving faster than any healer predicted." Leo looked toward the sealed chamber entrance, now warping under enemy pressure. "We don't have time for this. They're breaking through." "I know," she gasped. "But they want to be born before the blood reaches this room. They know. They sense it." Outside the chamber, Varak's forces fired. Plasma charges against the sealed gate. One of his captains shouted, "The walls are weakening." Varak's face was twisted with rage. "Prepare to storm the chamber. I want the hybrids alive if they haven't torn her apart by now." He smiled darkly, certain the queen would die delivering them. Inside, Zura's back arched with another contraction. The light around her pulsed brighter. Ancient Karosi runes on the walls glowed gold, then cracked. A storm of energy swirled in the air, and the floating soul crown above her began spinning. Leo steadied her. "You're not alone. We're going to get through this together." Zura gritted her teeth, growling, "Then hold me. And if the gods hear prayers from humans, now would be a good time to start." He knelt behind her, supporting her weight. "I already did. That's how I found you." Suddenly, her body shuddered and a wave of psychic energy exploded outward, frying all surveillance tech in a mile-wide radius. Screens went black across Varak's command deck. His voice shouted through static. "What just happened? Why? Can't I see them? Open that door." In the delivery chamber, something miraculous began. Zura's glow intensified. Her body lifted into the air, supported not by machines, but by the will of her children. The runes beneath her formed a circle of living light, her heartbeat synchronized with theirs. And then, "We are ready." The twins' voices rang out. In her mind and Leo's, the chamber's ceiling opened to the sky, as if the structure itself wanted to witness their arrival. Starlight poured in. Outside, the city froze. Everyone, ally and enemy alike, turned toward the beam of light bursting from the palace ruins. Time stood still. And then, two rays of energy separated from Zura's chest, one deep blue, one golden white. There was no blood, no pain, no sound, only silence, and the birth of two beings the galaxy had never seen before. Queen Zura floated gently back down to the platform. Two newborns now in her arms, wrapped in warm, glowing halos of their own power. Their skin shimmered softly, showing both human and Karosi features. One had Leo's eyes, calm and curious. The other had Zura's piercing stare, already scanning the world like a ruler. Zura blinked, exhausted but smiling. They are here." Leo knelt beside her, his eyes wet. "They're beautiful." The babies opened their eyes, and then something impossible happened. The rebels above the chamber screamed. The twins looked up. Their pupils changed shape, hexagonal, glowing like ancient stars above them, every hostile soldier who had breached. The palace suddenly dropped their weapons and clutched their heads. Visions flooded their minds, not of fire, but of peace, unity, earth gardens, and Kiros oceans. Mixed children playing. Shared knowledge. A future they had never imagined. The twins were sending a psychic message across the city, and across space. Varak staggered backward in the control room. What is this?" He saw a vision himself, old and tired, watching the hybrids on a future council, their eyes wise, and his own name written in a history book as a villain who nearly destroyed everything. "No," he growled. "This is not the future I want." He ran toward the chamber, but as he reached the shattered doors, he froze. There, standing tall again, was Queen Zura, now glowing brighter than ever, her strength restored by the life in her arms. Beside her stood Leo, holding a staff lit by the world core itself, and before them, their children floated eyes wide, power gently pulsing. "Stop," Zura said. Varek lifted his weapon. The twins blinked once. The weapon melted. Varek dropped to his knees, weeping not from pain, but from something worse, understanding. He had lost, not in battle, but in destiny. Above the city, the enemy ships retreated without command. The sky began to clear. The capital of Kairos stood in stunned silence. And then it began. The bells of unity rang, a sound not heard since the age of first peace. A new sun rose over the capital of Kairos. It was not from the sky. It was from the hearts of two newborn children born of different worlds, glowing with light that even the oldest alien prophets could not explain. In the ruins of the royal palace, where fire had once burned and betrayal had screamed through the halls, there was now only silence and awe. Queen Zura stood atop the highest balcony, holding both of her children close to her chest. One child slept peacefully, wrapped in golden light. The other looked out over the city, eyes wide and unblinking, already watching, already learning. Leo stood beside her, armor scorched, body bruised, but eyes proud. Together, they faced the people of Kairos. And for the first time in history, the entire crowd, aliens of different bloodlines, soldiers, nobles, rebels, and servants, bowed as one. The queen's voice rose, strong and clear. "I stand before you not only as ruler, but as mother to the next age. These children are not a weakness. They are the bond between Earth and Kairos, between logic and heart, between strength and mercy." She paused, her glowing eyes scanning the thousands gathered below. "I will no longer rule alone. These twins shall grow under both suns. One crown of Kairos, one crown of Earth." From the tower rooftops, the Unity banner rose for the first time, two stars crossing, their light woven together. Around the city, people began to cheer. It started small, hesitant, then grew louder, unstoppable. They cheered for peace. For something new. They cheered for hope. Back inside the palace, Varek knelt in a prison cell deep underground. He stared at his hands, once powerful, now shaking. He had seen the future, not from prophecy, but through the minds of the twins. In that future, there was no throne for him, no statues in his name, only footnotes in history books about a failed rebellion and a man who feared what he didn't understand. And yet, he could not stop seeing their eyes, eyes that held galaxies. Eyes that forgave. He covered his face and wept. Months passed. Zura's body healed. Her strength returned, not just as a warrior queen, but as a mother. She learned how to feed babies with one arm while signing royal orders with the other. She walked through the palace barefoot, without guards, learning the softness of peace. Leo, once a soldier from Earth, now trained side by side with alien knights and taught human children the honor codes of Kairos. His words were broadcast across systems. "We do not protect the future with guns. We protect it with kindness, and if needed, then yes, a sword too." The twins grew quickly, not just in size but in understanding. They spoke in dream tongues. Before their first words, they floated pebbles above their hands before they learned to crawl. When they touched each other's foreheads, entire rooms warmed with peace. One day, in the temple gardens, they stopped walking and stared at the sky. The boy pointed. The girl whispered "Zura," and Leo turned their heads and saw it too. A ship, Earth's flag on one side, Kairos's crest on the other. the first unified vessel, coming home from a joint mission. That evening, a grand ceremony was held in the Hall of Two Crowns. The twins were placed on twin thrones of crystal and steel side by side, small but powerful. Laughing in innocent wonder, elders from Earth and Kairos stood together and declared, "No longer will one world rule over the other. These children carry both. They are the bridge." The dream made real. In the final hour of the ceremony, Zura turned to Leo. Her voice was soft. "You came here as a stranger," Leo smiled. "You laughed at me," she smirked. "You deserved it." They both laughed. Then she added, "And now you've given me everything I never knew I needed." Leo took her hand. We gave it to each other. Far above, among the stars, ancient satellites began transmitting something new. Not a war warning, not a signal of conquest, but a message, a story, about a queen who laughed, and a human who didn't run, about two children and two worlds that chose love over fear. The end.